As an athlete, you may be interested in your power to weight ratio. How do you monitor your body composition? How do you know how much lean muscle mass you've got? Or how do you know how much fat weight your body is carrying? We're going to take a look at the Ugramo Fitpro Smart Body Scale. And we're going to see how these measure up literally and how they may help you as an athlete to perform better. Stay tuned to the end of the video for an update on my usage after 4 to 6 weeks. There's going to be 2 parts to this video. Firstly, we're going to look at the scales in operation, and then we're going to talk through some of the issues about body weight, self-body image, and the importance of putting the data into context. Along the way, some of my athletes are going to contribute as well.
So as an athlete, if you choose to go ahead and use some scales like this or do some skin folds and work alongside of a nutritionist, it's fantastic that you want to focus on something that's within your control.
You'll need 4 15-volt AAA batteries to power the scales. Once you've inserted the batteries, the scales will automatically power up, but you won't be able to operate them until you download the FitDays app. The scales can support 15 users, and you can set up individual profiles for each of those. Although many of you will find it probably obvious, to pair the scales to your phone or smart device, you need to activate them, so pressing on the scales will do this for you. Once you've paired your device to your phone, you're ready to go. You can also sync the data from the scales to the health app on your iPhone, for example, and it can also be synced with Google Fit, Fitbit and Samsung Health as well. So the Fitpro Smart Body Scales are now paired with my phone. You then activate the app and stand on the scales and everything kicks into action. If you're holding your phone, it'll vibrate once all the measures have been calibrated. And the data is synced to my phone, and I'm now looking at some of my scores and measurements. There are a lot, and it will be too long for me to go through each of them. So I'll just give you the topics. So obviously weight is measured, body mass index, body fat, fat-free body weight, subcutaneous fat, heart rate, heart index, visceral fat, body water, skeletal muscle, muscle mass, bone mass, protein content, basal metabolic rate, and body age. You certainly do get a lot of data from the Fitpro scales, and it will give you a good indication as to the status of your body in terms of fat composition, lean weight, water weight, protein content, and so on. As a power athlete, muscle mass, lean muscle mass is crucial. The more lean muscle mass you have, the more powerful you'll be, everything else being equal. So looking at the percentage of your lean muscle mass on your body can tell you a lot about how your training's going. However, there's not going to be a hugely significant variance in lean muscle mass, particularly if you're a training mature athlete and are training regularly using plyometrics, sprints and weights, for example. Plus, if you increase muscle mass too much, that can adversely affect your power to weight ratio, as muscle weighs much more than any other kind of body tissue. Additionally, your body type is going to also have an effect. If you're lean and wiry, you're likely less able to put on more muscle than somebody who's more muscled in the first place. It even depends on the number of repetitions and sets you do when it comes to weight training and complex training, and it's very individual as to how your body will respond to the training stimulus. But having said all that, knowing your lean muscle mass, in particular your skeletal muscle mass, can be an important measurement. And the same goes for body fat percentage. Generally, the leaner you are, the more lean muscle mass you have, the less or lower your body fat percentage will also be. We'll talk more on body fat percentages later. Trading on my experience as a fitness magazine editor in the past, where body fat percentage often came up and various devices were trialled, I did ask the manufacturers about the accuracy, and they did say that the sensor area is larger compared to other products, and this makes for more accurate measuring. I will say, however, that body fat percentage can vary depending on the device that you use. You're also going to get potential variation if you have a sum of skin folds measurement, which is done manually.
And have a look at the range of leanness that you see, because everyone has their point of leanness to what maybe works best for them. You want to make sure that you're coming at it from a performance point of view, not so much an ego point of view, because if your ego does get in the way, it might hinder your performance. And as much as we want to look really good when we compete, I've totally been there. Now personally, I can tell you that I'm not as lean as I was, and I'm the strongest and the fastest that I've ever been, even when I was my leanest. And so for me, that's great proof to prove that just because you're lean doesn't mean that you're going to perform really good. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be faster or stronger.
The Ugramofitpro Smart Body Scales can be a useful addition to your training kit. But as I've said, and my athletes have also said, don't fixate on the data. Rather, see it as a guide, and additionally, make sure you fully understand what the measurements are measuring. Train properly, eat healthily, and you will get the results. Well, I've been using the scales now for 4 to 6 weeks, and I have found them useful. I think one thing you need to take away, as I said in the main part of the video, is that you've got to be aware of what the scales are actually telling you, what the measures are actually measuring. And you've also got to be aware that they may not be 100% accurate, and indeed the manufacturers have said that, insofar as the scales are aimed at the fitness market, not at professional athletes. Some personal reflections: I think it's a good idea to use them at the same time each day. So I've been half an hour or so after getting up, standing on the scales and getting my measurements. Throughout the day, your weight will vary due to its water weight, what training you've done, and so forth and so on. So if you weigh yourself or stand on the scales to get the measurements, I should say, at the same time each day, you're going to get greater consistency. All in all, I'd recommend the scales for use by athletes and indeed fitness trainers, as they can give you a good idea as to the state of your body. But again, to reiterate, just take into consideration the potential variations that will occur naturally through your day-to-day activity and training, and the level of accuracy that these particular scales, smart scales, can offer.